My entitled neighbor thought he was an absolute genius, sneaking into my backyard every week to steal my expensive gasoline, but he didn't know that the gas he just poured into his lawnmower and his precious car was actually a 5-gallon can filled to the brim with my own urine. And the best part? I got a front row seat to his absolute destruction. Let me give you some context. My neighbor wasn't just annoying, he was an absolute nightmare. The kind of guy who thought the world revolved around him. But the real problem started in my backyard. I keep a 5-gallon gas can in my shed for my lawnmower. But recently, I started noticing something completely bizarre. Every time I went to mow my lawn, that massive 5-gallon can was almost entirely empty. Now, my lawnmower's tank barely holds a single quart. The math simply wasn't adding up. I knew I wasn't burning through that much gas, which meant only one thing: someone was stealing from me. And I had a pretty good idea of who it was. The audacity of this guy to trespass on my property and literally fuel his life on my dime made my blood boil. Now, this was back in the day before cheap, easily available security cameras or Ring doorbells were everywhere. I couldn't just check an app on my phone. I had to get creative. I took an old webcam, hooked it up to my laptop, and installed some basic motion detection software. I pointed it straight at the backyard shed, perfectly framing the gas can. It was the ultimate trap. One morning, I decided to test it. I made a big show of leaving the house, slamming the front door and driving off. But I only went around the block. My laptop was recording everything. Exactly 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes after I left, the motion detector went off. And there he was, my lovely neighbor, casually strolling into my backyard, grabbing my gas can, filling up his tools and his car, and putting the empty can right back. He looked so smug, like he was untouchable. Catching him red-handed wasn't enough. I didn't want to just confront him. I wanted to teach him a lesson he would never, ever forget. For the entire next week, I made a small adjustment to my daily routine. Every single time I needed to use the bathroom, I walked out to the back porch and peed directly into that 5-gallon gas can. Day by day, the can got heavier and heavier. Now, you might be thinking, wouldn't he notice the smell? Here's the beautiful thing about gasoline. The chemical smell is so incredibly overpowering that it completely masked the scent of my custom mixture. By the end of the week, the can was full, but it still smelled exactly like premium unleaded fuel. Even a genius couldn't tell the difference, and my neighbor was certainly no genius. I left the trap out on the back porch. Then, I put on an Oscar-worthy performance. I went outside, loudly checking my car's fluids, packing a few large bags into the trunk, and making sure my neighbor saw me. I yelled over the fence, "Hey, I'm heading out on a road trip, going to be out of town for a few days." I was practically serving the bait on a silver platter. I drove off, but just like before, I only waited about an hour before sneaking back. I quietly pulled up to my house, pretending my car was having engine trouble. I peeked over into his yard. The scene was absolute poetry. There he was, standing in his front yard, furiously yanking the pull cord of his lawnmower. He was pulling it so hard and so fast, I genuinely thought the guy was going to have a heart attack right there on the grass. His face was beet red, completely purple with rage, and he was screaming every curse word in the dictionary at this machine. It just wouldn't start, but it gets better. He eventually gave up on the mower, aggressively threw his tools down, and got into his car. He slammed the door, started the engine, and sped down the street. I watched him drive away, 1 block, 2 blocks, and then, putter. Choke. Silence. His car completely died, right in the middle of the road. His engine was completely locked up, ruined by a 5-gallon dose of pure, unadulterated karma. I walked over to my back porch and looked at my gas can, completely empty. Now, ruining his lawnmower and destroying his car's engine would be enough revenge for most people. But remember when I said this guy was an absolute jerk? Well, stealing my gas wasn't his only crime. I did a little digging and found out this guy actually had an active warrant out for his arrest. So, to put the cherry on top of this beautiful revenge Sunday, I applied for the local sheriff's ride-along program. Fast forward a bit, and I actually got to sit in the passenger seat of the police cruiser as the sheriff pulled up to my neighbor's house and slapped the cuffs on him. Watching him get shoved into the back of a police car, knowing his lawnmower was dead, his car was wrecked, and he was headed to jail, was the most satisfying moment of my life. Now, ruining his lawnmower and destroying his car's engine would be enough revenge for most people. But remember when I said this guy was an absolute jerk? Well, stealing my gas wasn't his only crime. I did a little digging and found out this guy actually had an active warrant out for his arrest. So, to put the cherry on top of this beautiful revenge Sunday, I applied for the local sheriff's ride-along program. Fast forward a bit, and I actually got to sit in the passenger seat of the police cruiser as the sheriff pulled up to my neighbor's house and slapped the cuffs on him. Watching him get shoved into the back of a police car, knowing his lawnmower was dead, his car was wrecked, and he was headed to jail, was the most satisfying moment of my life. Do you think destroying his car's engine was taking it too far? Or did he get exactly what he deserved for trespassing and stealing? Let me know what you would have done in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this dose of ProRevenge, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more daily Reddit stories. See you in the next one.